This is Univa ASMR, and this is a review of the 33rd Best of the Super Juniors tournament, which just recently concluded about 2 days ago. I have very mixed feelings on this tournament, which I will get into. So first, I'm gonna talk about the group stage, and I will begin with the B block, which consisted of Robbie Eagles, Yo, El Desperado, Daichi Ishimori, Sho, Kushida, Jacob Austin Young, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Yo, and Daisuke Sasaki. And I did not like this block at all. The only two competitors who I can say were consistently good in the block were Robbie Eagles and Daichi Ishimori. Beyond that, I think that Kushida and El Desperado are generally good wrestlers, but were disappointing in this tournament, and the other 6 competitors I just don't like. I had never seen Yo or Daisuke Sasaki, and I was not impressed with either of them. I really didn't care for the Myeonmon story. And yeah, every time there was a show with this block on it exclusively, I would look at the matches and just groan. But I did watch all of them, and the 2 matches I can recall really enjoying were Yo versus Daichi Ishimori and Robbie Eagles versus Kushida, which was genuinely a very good match. But I'm happy to move on from this block and talk about the A block, which I feel completely different about. The A block consisted of Master Wato and Kosei Fujita advancing out of the block, along with Francesco Akira, Jun Kasai, Robbie X, T-Don, Nick Wayne, Ryosuke Taguchi, Valiente Jr., and Daisuke Sasaki, Daiki Nagai. This block is one of my favorite tournament blocks I have ever seen in New Japan. I thought that every competitor was great, and I enjoyed every single match. I watched every match, and while there were a few matches that maybe didn't live up to my expectations, there were no matches that were bad, no matches that were less than good. Kosei Fujita, Robbie X, Francesco Akira, Jun Kasai, Daiki Nagai were the standouts of this block to me, but that's really not saying much. I feel like every competitor really brought it, and I was really happy with who advanced. I was a bit grateful, as mean it is to say, that Doki had to pull out for whatever reason he pulled out. They didn't say if he was injured or what, but either way, this run from Daiki Nagai was awesome. And all of his matches were great, especially against Akira and Fujita, and I'm really glad he got this run. I liked Valiente Jr., he wasn't anything super special, but I think he had a good run of matches. Ryusuke Taguchi is always good whenever he turns it on, which he did in a few matches. I really enjoyed Nick Wayne a lot more than last year. I thought that he worked great as a essentially white meat babyface who was just happy to be there, which doesn't work for me 9 out of 10 times, but he's a young kid, he has a lot of potential. I think for the betterment of his career, he should stay in Japan. I think he'd get a lot more out of that than if he went back to Ring of Honor or AEW. T-Don is a very good wrestler. I think he's one of the best junior heavyweights in the world, and you can always depend on him for a good match. matches with Fujita, Jun Kasai, and Titan specifically were all fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what his ceiling is in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jun Kasai was a welcome addition. I didn't watch it before this tournament and didn't watch deathmatch wrestling in general. And from a narrative perspective, I thought having him in this block was great because every round a different competitor got to face him and got to leave their comfort zone a little bit, which I thought was a really cool element for the block as a whole. Francesco Akira was awesome. He is killing it as a heel in the role he is in currently. Kosei Fujita was the best performer of the tournament, I would say, undeniably. And Master Wato is a guy who doesn't get as much out of me as he seems to the rest of the audience, but I still really enjoyed him in the tournament, and I think he should have made the finals, as I will get into later. So we ended up with the semifinals of the first place B block winner Robbie Eagles facing his tag team partner, second place A block winner Kosei Fujita, and first place A block winner Master Wato facing his tag partner, second place B block winner Yo. I definitely did not expect Yo to advance out of this tournament. I thought that Robbie Eagles would, especially with the way his tournament started, but I figured it'd be El Desperado or maybe even Daichi Shimori before I thought it'd be Yo, but it's clear to me that, number one, that Yo is very popular with the domestic audience, which he is, and also, I think that because Hiromu left, they are looking for that other credible, kind of veteran worker, gatekeeper they can put into that role, and eventually put the younger talent over, and it looks like they chose Yo for that. But Robbie and Fujita's semifinal match was pretty good. I think that you would have expected more out of this pairing considering their history, but also it was a semi-main event, and it just felt like there was more left on the table, and who knows, maybe they'll meet again in a future tournament, but I did really enjoy the match. The post-match was especially really cool with Robbie Eagles crying, which got me pretty emotional, and I'm not a guy who cries much myself, but that made me really sad. Yeah, he's been in the company for so long now. I believe this was his 8th Best of the Super Juniors, and he just keeps trying and trying and trying to make it to the finals, and he finally gets out of the block, but doesn't make it out of the semifinals. So I really think Robbie Eagles should win the tournament one of these days. He's worked really hard. He's improved year over year in that company. Every year is a new peak for him, and I'd really like to see him get that moment. That clearly means a lot to him. But it was the right decision. Kosei Fujita should have won this match and gone through to the finals. And on the other side, very surprisingly, you had Yo going over Master Wato, which I did not expect. I think a lot of people didn't expect that. And it really makes you wonder what they think of Master Wato. It's not like he's been booked horribly in his career. He's won Best of the Super Juniors before, but he failed the title challenge. And then he had the title challenge in Osaka against Doki, which I think everyone thought he would win. I surely did. And he didn't. And he lost in his hometown in the main event against his bitter rival. Which I couldn't believe that happened. And here, he beats Fujita, which is a big win for him. Fujita really kind of raked him over the coals in post-match comments leading up to that match. But he goes into this match with his mentor Tenzan in the audience, who's going to be retiring soon. And he wants to win the match in front of Tenzan, and he ends up tapping out to the Anaconda Vice, Tenzan's finisher, in front of him. So I don't know what to make of that. Like, that is, it's not a burial, that's a very heavy term, but it's certainly a very disrespectful way to put Master Wato down. on the Nick show, he was just in the undercard, happy to be there. So I'm not the biggest fan of Master Wato, but I do like him in certain... I have liked him before. I liked him in the lead up to the Doki match, so I'm curious to see what his future looks like from here, because that was a very shocking finish in my opinion. But anyways, Yo goes through to the finals, a rematch from the finals from last year, and much like last year, I just felt like Yo didn't have a tournament to warrant this. I didn't like his matches that much. He's not an awful wrestler, and I think if he turned it on, he's actually really good. But I shouldn't say I don't like the comedy stuff, because I do. He's funny, but I don't like the comedy stuff in the spot that he's been put into. It's not a main event gimmick. But he went into the finals against Fujita, and I hated the match, honestly. The parts that I liked were when Yo was working underneath, because he's a good babyface, and when he's taking it seriously, he's a good wrestler. But this was the second year in a row that the match was about chaos for some reason, and I don't understand why I'm supposed to care about this. Chaos as a faction pretty much stopped existing in 2018 when Okada and Tanahashi joined Chaos and Hontai together, alright? Beyond that, most of the Chaos guys still hang out. I know that Okada's gone, and I get that was a big blow for them, but Goto and Yoshihashi and Ishii and Toru Yano are all still there. They were there at the end of the show, minus Ishii, right? So I don't really understand why Chaos Nostalgia for a faction that I don't think, well, it doesn't carry much weight for me, got not one, but two Best of the Super Junior Finals, pardon me, in a row. I just don't understand them. And I thought this match was a worse version of last year's. Way more on the nose, way more referencey, and I just don't care. I don't care to see guys copy other people's finishers for a whole match, and like that's the match. Especially hitting Fujita with the Rainmaker twice. Like, it just looks silly. I have to acknowledge that the crowd was really behind Yo, and although I was really upset he won, like looking at it, him beating Doki and getting a title reign and then dropping into Fujita or Master Wato or whoever, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I hated that final a lot, and I really wish that it was Fujita and Wato. I would have taken Fujita. Over any other wrestler in the A block, including Yusuke Taguchi, than I would have Yo. But the fans loved him. He's very popular with the audience there. They were white hot for this match. And the building was either sold out or nearly, and selling out Ota City Gymnasium is not easy. So, we'll see where it goes from there. But as my favorite matches from this tournament, they were all in the A block, and I'm not going to list them in any particular order, but I would say Kosei Fujita versus Robbie X versus Jun Kasai, Kosei Fujita versus Daiki Nagai, Francesco Akira versus Daiki Nagai, and Robbie X versus Teton. And I thought it was pretty fitting that out of the three